In the bustling colony of Emerhill, nestled beneath the rich summer soil, lived a tiny ant named Nira. She wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but she had a relentless dream. Every day, while carrying crumbs twice her size, she'd look up. She watched butterflies drift like dreams, bees dart like sunlight, and birds soar like triumphant warriors. With each glance, a tightness grew in her small chest, a whisper telling her she belonged to the skies, not the tunnels. The colony elders warned that ants were creatures of the earth, that the sky was a place of danger. But Nira couldn't shake the feeling. One day, near the old oak tree, a strange shimmer caught her eye, a blue light, like a droplet of magic. As she drew closer, she found an ancient beetle with cracks on his shell and eyes that glowed with forgotten secrets. He introduced himself as Oro, keeper of the forest wishes. Nira, trembling with disbelief, confessed her deepest desire, to have wings, to be free from the endless lines, the dirt walls, and the predictable patterns of her life. Oro listened, his ancient eyes seeing the fierce longing in her heart. He warned her that every wish demanded a trade. Something must be lost for something to be gained. But Nira, blinded by her yearning, agreed without a second thought. In a surge of blue sparks, her body grew translucent wings, shimmering with patterns like petals made of starlight. With a single beat, she lifted into the air. For the first time, she was weightless, limitless. She soared above the colonies, the roots, the rocks. The world was larger, brighter, and more magical than she ever imagined. She flew over rivers that glimmered like liquid glass, over flowers taller than mountains, and through meadows bursting with colors she'd never known. For weeks, she tasted wild winds, rode sunbeams, and danced with moons reflected in puddles. She was utterly enchanted by her new life. But as she embraced the skies, something subtle began to shift. Her memory of the colony started to blur. The faces of her sisters grew dim. The warm sense of belonging she once knew began to fade away. One morning, she woke on a flower petal and saw ants marching below. A strange twist of sadness filled her heart, but she didn't know why. The more she indulged in flying, the more her identity dissolved like dust on the wind. Then, a fierce storm ripped through the forest. It scattered petals and bent great branches. Nira was tossed violently through the air, her delicate wings useless against the gale. She crashed near the old oak tree, right where her journey had begun. Oro was waiting, a shadow in his expression. The cost of her wish, he explained, had begun to collect. Wings brought freedom, but also detachment. Weightlessness demanded the sacrifice of being grounded. Terrified, Nira begged him to reverse the magic, but Oro explained that a wish given so freely cannot simply be undone. To reclaim what she lost, she had to choose it, to prove she understood its value. Desperate and drenched in rain, Nira tried to fly back to her colony, but with each flap of her wings, her memories faded further. The tunnels of Emerhill became unfamiliar, as if she were a stranger to the very home she was born in. When she finally arrived at the entrance, the guards didn't recognize her. The wind and the sky had washed away her scent, her identity. With tears carried away by the raindrops, she begged to be let in. They rejected her, their instincts telling them she didn't belong. But then, a young ant named for her closest friend. Though Nira barely remembered her, felt something familiar in her desperate voice. For it brought her inside, to the queen. The queen, ancient and wise, sensed both ant and not ant within Nira. She asked the lost little creature how she had lost herself. With trembling words, Nira confessed everything. She had traded her place in the world for a place in the sky, believing that greatness lived above, not within. The queen spoke of the truth Nira had forgotten. Strength isn't in flying high, but in staying connected. Community isn't a cage, but a lifeline. The ground is not a limitation, but a foundation. As Nira broke into sobs, wishing only to feel the belonging she once took for granted, the queen gave her a path back. She instructed Nira to go to the heart chamber, a sacred place where ants reconnect with their lineage. There, Nira voluntarily placed her shimmering wings on the soil. She finally understood that freedom without roots is just emptiness. As her wings dissolved into dust like fallen stars, her memories rushed back. The faces of her friends, the warmth of teamwork, the pride in small victories, the shared burdens, the unity of moving. As one it all flooded her heart, returning the identity she feared was gone forever. Though she could no longer fly, Nira now walked with a purpose deeper than before. She understood that wanting more isn't wrong, but losing yourself to get it is the greatest loss of all. In time, Nira became a guide for the young ants who looked to the sky with longing. She taught them that dreams are beautiful, but they must never be pursued at the cost of who you are. She became not a creature of wings, but a creature of wisdom, proving that true elevation comes not from rising above your world, but from honoring your place within it. And as she marched once more with her colony, her family, she would smile at the sky, not with envy, but with gratitude. She no longer wished to escape, because she had finally found the one thing that flying could never give her, herself. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. See you next time.